Live Cream City crossover. Welcome to the Cream City crossover. The Bucks get a win, 120 to 118 tonight. What a game! I mean, there's so much that went on tonight that we have to talk about when we're looking and evaluating this game. Again, a 120 to 118 victory. The Milwaukee Bucks facing all kinds of adversity. Listen, fellas, I'm fine right now. And again, welcome to the Cream City crossover. Let me start over. Welcome to the Cream City crossover. I'm the guru, Trey Crosby III.
Chris King, what's happening, sir?
Hey, relax. It's supposed to be JT. I haven't been on here in a minute, so it's time.
Hey, man,
you
know
introduce yourself. Go ahead.
I deferred to you, man. Chris King, John Tyus. What's going
There
on,
we
fellas?
go. The fellas are here from all you teams. Gives a nice 7-3 the game. Cream City crossover in the building right here. Chris King in the building,
Yes,
doing his thing, produced the show, giving us some
sir.
takes too. Again, a 120-118 victory. Fellas, I thought I was gonna have to go off tonight. I thought I was gonna have to go nuclear tonight because of this. Because I thought they were gonna lose. I'm not gonna lie. I thought this was gonna be an L because when Giannis went out the game, Giannis gets ejected, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't watch this game, I mean, I'm hoping you're coming to the Cream City crossover because you just watched this game, because you just saw what happened, because you just saw the Bucks win, go 5-8 against the Detroit Pistons and the officiating crew. It was trash. We're gonna have to continue to talk about it. The ejection of Giannis Antetokounmpo, he'll play 21 minutes tonight. But Damian Lillard puts up 18 points in the fourth quarter, goes off for 34 in the game. Hey, they said Damian Lillard don't play defense. Well, he does in the clutch. He had 3 steals, one a late steal as well. Malik Beasley, they said Malik Beasley, get him out of the lineup. What does he do? 10 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, great defense down the stretch. I love it. I love it. Bobby Portis with 18 points and 5 boards. He had, I think, 16 in the first half. He was cooking. Jay Crowder with 10. And your boy Brook Lopez put up 14 and 6 with a huge 3 late in the game. He was 4 for 6 from downtown. The Milwaukee Bucks faced a lot of adversity tonight. And I got to give Detroit some credit, too. They did pump themselves up after Giannis went. It was almost like hey, I got to drink. You ever start drinking? And
Bro, what is that?
And then you get a little liquid courage. You get to the bar, you're like, hold up, I'm talking, I'm in my steez right now. That's how Detroit felt.
Mm-hmm.
When Giannis, the game is over. The game's absolutely over. And then when Giannis gets ejected off a technical foul, which we're going to have to get into, which we're going to have to talk about and dive in and discuss in just a moment. But when that happens, you feel on the other side, Detroit perks up. Oh, they're without, maybe we have a chance. And they play like you got a guy. Listen, I watch a lot of NBA. I'm not going to lie. I don't know who the hell Marcus Sasser is. I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is. He put up 26 and 6 tonight. That's what he did. I don't know who he played for. I didn't know. Cade Cunningham went for 33 and 8. Jalen Duren throughout the game was really good. Had 11 points, 12 boards. He was really good, especially in the first half. And I really think they didn't use him as much as I think they could have gone to him a little bit more throughout the game. But Detroit, again, I'll give Sasser credit. I'll give Cade Cunningham. He shot a lot. He took a lot of shots. Again, 38 and 8. He played well, though, I thought, for a Detroit team. And let me tell you, keep going in this. I hate Steve Novak. Steve Novak sucks. He's on the announcing crew for the Bucks. But so anytime I hear Steve Novak on Balance where I'm listening to, I change and I start listening to the other stream. So I'm listening to the Detroit announcers. Let me tell you something. Terrible decision. Detroit announcers. You think Steve Novak is bad? Whoever the hell they hired in Detroit, trash. They need to fire both of them guys expeditiously. Show them to the door. They absolutely stink. But so they're on the program talking. And, I mean, even they were the most monitored, terrible announcers. Giannis goes out the game, and you think they was Buddy from the Charlotte Hornets who be talking crazy during the game. That's on.
It's Eric Collins, yeah.
That was the biggest excitement I heard from them in the entire game is when Giannis goes out. Then they get pumped up. They thought they had a chance to win, but they didn't. John, I want to get your rapid reaction, your talk here, whatever. Give me your thoughts. I do want to give everybody, again, no comments. You know, Elon Musk is playing with the money. No comments. But again, you want to add TC I think ourselves in. If you want to add TCIIIESQ, if you're in the YouTube chat, give us your thoughts on this game. We'll read them out. We'll talk to you. JT, give me some post game thoughts.
All right. Well, look, I know we all have a lot, so I'll be brief with this, right? I think the first thing that I'll say though, overall, is I'm very happy that this Bucks team was able to come back from being down 10. You're missing two of your biggest stars, in Giannis and Chris. You found a way. You found a way to work this thing out, right? We talk about Batman and Superman all the time. Look, Batman was gone. Was when my Dame went and found the phone booth. Right, changed up into his cape, through the cape one, and came through in the fourth. And I'm really impressed to see Dame pull through like that, because Dame was not playing well for 3 quarters. It just was not there, right? He ended up, and Trey, as you say, he ended up with a couple tour dates, 2 for 12 from 3, 10 for 25 from the field, right? But at the end of the day, when it mattered, he came through. So I was happy to see that. Again, happy to see my guy Malik Beasley. See Malik Beasley come through, who I've been trying to ride for all season. I've been talking about Malik Beasley, and you guys have convinced me that Crowder needs a spot in the lineup, or Crowder's entitled to a spot in the lineup. And all right, fine. I'll stop fighting y'all on that, but y'all gonna keep some respect on my man's name. Man, can we talk about Brook Lopez being one of the best 3-point shooters on this team? This is the second straight night Brook has led this team in 3-pointers made, which is insane. He was 4 for 6 tonight, and I think it was 4 for 10 against the Nets. So, hey, man, I'm glad to see this team battle back and make it and figure this thing out, especially with that kind of adversity. But I need an explanation from the NBA on why Giannis was ejected, because this doesn't make any sense.
Chris, give me your thoughts. Jump in here, and then I think we'll get to the Giannis ejection and kind of talk about that. What do you think of what you saw tonight from the Milwaukee Bucks?
Yeah, I was very impressed with how the Bucks didn't waver. I mean, you get down 10 points late, and it's easy to kind of be like, oh, we don't have Giannis in the lineup. He's ejected. He's out of the game, and you guys can just take this one. No, the Bucks got stops when they needed them down the stretch. Great defensive plays down the stretch from Malik Beasley. I mean, forced Sasser into a travel when he had it going, and then getting that steal on the back end as well to kind of seal the game. Obviously, Jay kind of gave us a heart attack with the miss of the front end, but I really was impressed with how this team defended towards the end of the game, and also got buckets. Credit to Dame. I mean, that's just inevitable.
So comments coming in early in the YouTube chat. Abudrame Diamande, the ref needs to get fired. Kyle in Racine says the ejection was Tim Donaghy worthy. Hey, listen,
wow.
That's what it gave off. That had to be.
Yeah.
That was soft.
What you think? What you think? He had a parlay at Pato? What you think?
He surely didn't have anywhere. He didn't have dinner reservations. He wanted that game to go on a little bit longer. At Light Seraph, Marvin Lee says xenophobe alert on the effing ref. I'm sure he won't have the balls to throw out LeBron or Steph. Heck, he won't even throw out Draymond for that one. The NBA doesn't respect what Giannis brings to the product. The league should review and suspend that clown of a ref. Listen, I'm all for that. I'm all for a suspension of that official. The NBA league office needs to give an explanation, like you said, JT, 100%, because there's no way you eject the guy for dunking and like, listen, here's the thing. I said this on Twitter too. Adam Silver is begging superstars to play. You're begging guys to get out there. You don't know load management. Get out there and play. Come on. Love of the game. Come play. You don't need rest. Well, the guys are showing up. They're right there. They want to play. They want a ball. This is a fun game. They're dunking. This is entertainment. I got John Morant. Remember John Morant? Well, he don't play. He got suspended too. But I got guys running down the floor. They hit a freaking floater over somebody, and they run down 30 feet. Talking about too small. And you can't dunk in somebody's face and look at them? Are you serious? Are you kidding me right now?
It wasn't even excessive. He looked at the man for maybe 2 seconds, and I didn't even see his mouth open, right? I could maybe understand if you say something crazy after that or whatever, and you hear that, which I still think would be extremely weak if he said something and you ejected the man. But he didn't do anything that players do not do all of the time. And then the best part is he looked at that man, then he turned around. Right, he didn't run down the court and keep looking at him, mouth and stuff, and being a creeper. He looked at that man and turned around, right, and then did the little Giannis scowl, low flex. That's it. And yet tonight there was a problem with it. Yeah, I need an explanation for it. But you know what the first thing I need? The first thing I need is a rescission. right? I need a rescission of this technical foul.
Yes,
Somebody in
yes.
Eddie's office needs to go ahead and rescind that. Like, we can't even start listening until that happens, right? Second thing I need is an explanation. And the third thing I need is an apology. And maybe by the end of this show, I might need the apology second and then the explanation third.
Yeah, and it's not like Giannis is a guy that actually gets ejected a lot or even has problems with the officials. But I will say, like, after you get that technical, you're going to get hot because he didn't even do anything. So I think that was warranted. I felt like Giannis needed to give that referee an earful, and he did. And I don't blame him for that because it's a BS technical in the first place.
At Bucky Backer 09 says, watching on TV, the crowd sounded 100 times louder than any random Wednesday night game I can remember, especially against such a talentless Pistons team. Team could have folded once down double digits, but showed grit. Again, Brook looked slow in Brooklyn, but his D in that three, amazing.
Oh my God. Hey, pause, man. Pause.
I'm reading.
Come on, man.
I'm just reading.
Come on, man. And why you have to read it like that?
That's
why
what he
why
said.
you have to read it like
Ask
that?
Bradley
man?
Groff why he said it like that. I'm just saying.
Shoot the messenger, JT. Let him rock. Let him rock.
Yeah, why you have to read it like that,
I didn't read it like anything. I'm reading it. At Cowboy of Space says Dame is ice and clutch even if the three isn't falling. At NBA Enjoyer said, with the amount of adversity we had to overcome and how the team came together tonight, I believe this is the turning point for us in the season. And at Snell season said, pound for pound, take roles and expectations into factor. I think Jay Crowder's been the best Buck this season. Is that crazy? We get to that in a second. I do want to, for a second, just keep rolling on the Giannis thing. It still just amazes me, and you know. It just amazes me because I think there's some points to LeBron doesn't get ejected like that. And some of your bigger stars in the NBA, they don't get those ejects. They're not getting that call, especially on the second one to kick them out of the game. I just didn't like it. And again, you just saw the team was just low, and you saw Detroit pick themselves up off of that. And it just, that kind of stuff can just change the trajectory of a game. If the Detroit Pistons weren't so bad, if they didn't suck so bad, right, they win that basketball game. And I think that's something that you were lucky. And again, you thought I went on a rant. It would have been worse if the Bucks had lost. But you just can't make that call. You cannot do that to a two-time MVP, to a Finals MVP. And then to a guy who means so much to a basketball team. And again, if this is any other team in the NBA, 25 out of the 30 teams, this is a loss, and you directly pin that on the officiating crew.
I agree with that, right? And I think, and I'm sure Chris will probably want to weigh on this too. But my thing is, how you gonna treat it? Like, again, if you wouldn't do that to Jokic, I'll be scoring the man's last name all the time. Jokic. You wouldn't do that to Jokic. You wouldn't do that to LeBron, like you said, even Draymond, any of those guys, right? You might do it to Demetrius, but he deserves it because I guarantee you he's done something. Dame, you wouldn't do that, right? And again, my thing is I hate arbitrary calls like this. I hate arbitrary, like you cannot. There's just no explanation for this. And again, maybe something happened that we didn't see and we didn't hear. I want to hear that explanation, but what bothers me about this is if this were LeBron James, there would be an explanation 20 minutes after the game. There 100% would be an explanation 20 minutes after the game, and I think we probably have to wait till sometime tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. There would definitely be an explanation.
And I wanted, but the explanation, I wanted some Scott Twardowski, and he looks like a dork, and it's the type of guy that would have made that call. I'm looking at him, he gives off dork vibes.
That was almost our player of the game.
Technical foul, and we call it technical because
we put them on the trash list for the polls.
100%. I can't dunk like that, so I don't like it. Dork. But I can't. Let me add one more question on the Giannis thing, and then we'll get to the positives of the Bucks. I wanted to ask you guys if you're the Bucks. Well, now I guess because you won, I guess I don't feel as bad about it. But I actually would think about unless like you said, JT, unless the NBA rescinded that technical foul. If that's the way you wanted to play that, I'm not joking. I would almost think if I was Wes Edens, if I was John Horst, Adrian Griffin, I would almost think about maybe the next in-season tournament game, maybe the next nationally televised game. I'll sit everybody. If you're not gonna let my guys play, You're not gonna let my guys play because of that, because it's a mess like that. Bet we'll sit everybody and we'll show you. We won't play. That's what we'll do. If that's how much you care about guys being on the floor, fine. I will show you what it looks like to take my guys off the floor. And that would be I really would think about that being a rest game. Is that something? Are you that petty? Because I am. That's something I would do.
I was gonna say no. You Petty Murphy right now. There's no question about that right now, and that's okay because look, I have no idea what the ramifications would be there, but you'd be justified if that happens. I don't know. I mean, Chris, is that your move?
Nah. Yeah, I'm not gonna be that petty. No, I still roll him out there. Still roll him out there, man. You got it. You got to. Hey, you won the game. We're good. We're good.
Maybe I just sit Giannis. If I want to be that petty, maybe I just sit Giannis. I go, okay, you know what? If you're going to play this game with a superstar, if you're going to play this game with one of the guys that belong in the Mount Rushmore, the current players in the league, okay, fine, I'm going to take them away from you. I mean, right? That might be petty.
Yeah,
I may sit Giannis and Dame. Okay, you know what? I'm going to take the folks people came to see.
Exactly.
And only 100%. The true Buck fans are going to appreciate this game.
There you go. There you go. At Brew Crew on YouTube says, played it from the start. Love the early season energy. Yeah, we're bringing it. At Diamande says, can we finally say that Dame has outplayed another guard tonight? Can we say that? Did he? Yeah. I think he did outplay. I mean, he outplayed another guard. I don't know who what his name? Yeah, he outplayed.
Which one?
Mr. No Name over there. But yeah, I'm glad that he did it.
Which guard did he outplay? Sasser or which one?
Sasser
or K? Because K shot a gang of shots. Sasser was balling. I'll still say Dame had the edge, but
18 in the fourth from Damian Lillard. So you got to give it to him because it absolutely was Dame time. Colin Racine says, Trey, you don't want that in-season tournament banner. No, I do not care about it. Don't want it. At all.
We don't care at all about that in-season tournament.
So let's keep rolling here. It was absolutely Dame time. Damian Lillard propels the Bucks to a victory. If you're just listening, just tune into Creep City Crossover. It was a 120-118 victory. The Bucks beat the Detroit Pistons tonight behind Damian Lillard's 34 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. I thought in the beginning of the game, the Bucks just as a unit looked choppy. And again, I think that's some of the reason why Detroit was able to get themselves back into the game when Giannis went out, because the Bucks weren't playing well to play anyway. And again, Giannis covers up a lot of the stink, but Damian Lillard late in that basketball game in that fourth quarter made the conscious decision to take that thing over. And again, you're right, JT. You look at the tour that he shoots a February the 12th, 2 for 12 from 3, 16 points. That's good enough for 60.7%. He does go 12 for 13 from the line. You gotta love how good he plays from the line. And you look at, and I'll say this too, because he single-handedly brings the Milwaukee Bucks free throw shoot percentage up. They've shot 84% tonight, 27 of 32 from the line. And you look at Detroit, that's a big difference in the basketball game because Detroit shoots 15 and 16. So they get to the line so much. I believe right now I was looking, and the Bucks, Giannis and Dame are I believe they're both top 3 in the NBA at getting to the free throw line. That's huge. Because you're almost, and I think Dame is averaging 8 or 9 free throws a game. Giannis is up there about 9 free throw attempts a game. Again, he only takes 6 tonight because he gets ejected early. But again, Damian Lillard gets 13 free throws. They get to the basket a lot, and Damian Lillard, because his shot has not been falling, has been able to get to the basket a lot. And I think it's forcing him to want to commit and drive to the basket. That was one part of his game that I did not know was as good as it was. Not his free throw shooting, but his ability is almost, because I think one of the better finishers around the basket for a guard, I think you argue John Morant, and then I think one of the guys you argue is Kyrie Irving. Damian Lillard is right up there at getting to the basket, contorting his body, and getting tough layups over bigger defenders and or drawing the foul. And so he's been able to do that a ton. And, that was key tonight as well, because again, you're not shooting the ball well from 3. You're getting to the basket. You're scoring at different levels. That was huge late in this ball game. And again, I thought sometimes Dame gets passive, but it was absolutely Dame time, especially with about 6-7 minutes to go in the fourth.
Yeah, no, 100%. Look, with Dame, it's not always pretty, but it's definitely gritty, right? And it works. And you're right. I mean, he does draw a lot of fouls too. He finishes well, but how it is very relieving that we got a guy that's going to shoot 90% from the free throw line and 100, especially late in the game. So got to give it to him. Definitely do. And so what is this, right? So we're 7 games in, and this is 3 games where we've had late game heroics from Dame. I'll take it because this is becoming a thing. This is becoming a trend.
Yeah.
And
I'll say this too. I think that it was honestly easier for Dame to get his shot off when Giannis went out of the game. I saw a little bit more confidence from Dame than I had when Giannis was in the game, and that's because they're still trying to figure each other out. But like you said a couple shows ago, Trey, like Dame can get his shot off when he wants, and it looked a lot cleaner when he didn't have Giannis to worry about necessarily, getting Giannis the ball in the pick and roll. He was coming off those screens from Brooke or Jay or whoever it was or Bobby, and he was letting it go, and that's what I like to see from Dame.
Well, one thing I look at when you talk about Giannis and Dame and getting those looks is, for whatever reason, I just don't understand why. I really don't understand why when they get on the pick and roll and Dame flips the Giannis the ball off the pick and roll, it's never a true pick and roll, because in order to have a pick and roll, the guy rolling has to actually roll. Giannis picks, and it's not a pick and pop; it's a pick and stop. He picks, he starts rolling. Dame gives him the ball, and Giannis stops in the middle of the paint, like, I don't know what to do anymore. And I don't know if the option is to start those pick and rolls much higher so that Giannis can get more flow going downhill to the basket, or what the deal is. But Giannis just looks so uncomfortable. He's just very uncomfortable in those pick and roll situations. And I think that's what everybody, when you think about Giannis, think about Dame, you think, oh man, pick and roll game is going to be crazy. And for whatever reason, it just doesn't look like that quite yet. But I agree, Chris. I think late in the basketball game, Dame realizes it's all on me. I got to shoulder the load. It looked a lot like Dame back in Portland, and that's what I was waiting to see. I think there was a possession in the fourth where, like, Dame passed the Campaign passed it back to Dame, and Dame went right back to Campaign, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And yeah, I want to see Dame be aggressive at all times. And again, the last 6.5, 7 minutes of that ball game, that's the Damian Lillard we got. We got 18 points in the fourth. That's what makes Damian Lillard great. We need to see that. Again, there's no Chris Middleton as well tonight. So Dame truly was alone when Giannis gets ejected and you're out there in the fourth quarter and having to make it happen. And I believe Detroit got up as much as at least 10 in that basketball game, and the Bucks fought back.
Yeah. And the other thing, though, that I will say, though, and we piggyback, we keep saying this. It's going to take some time. Having that genuine comfort, though, but knowing that Dame is comfortable taking over in that last 5 minutes, the last 6 minutes, I think is a positive step for this team. And the fact that he can do it without his boy Giannis is even better. But one question I want to ask you guys is, like, what do you guys think about the adjustments after Giannis went out and the aggregate effort of everybody, how everybody chipped in to kind of make this thing happen? Y'all encouraged by that?
No. Not until we got into, like, the clutch portions of the game in the fourth quarter of the game, because they looked deflated again. When Giannis went out, the Bucks were up 13 points. Mm-hmm. They were up 13 points, and they, I believe at its worst, Detroit gets up. Detroit gets up 10, right? So there was a 23-point swing from when Giannis goes out of the game in the third quarter. Was that third quarter? Am I right? And I think Giannis really, because he struggled early in the game, and then he finally starts to get it going. That rim run was great, dunks the guy, and then, like I said, it's really a 23-point swing from that moment. You lose all momentum. I thought, again, just from and I know your question was sitting around when Giannis was out of the game, but even when Giannis was in the game during that entire basketball game, the Bucks, they lacked so much movement. Their offense lacks movement. It just seems like one guy here and a lot of guys standing around. And then again, even late, and we're going to talk about clutch time Bucks, but even late in that basketball game, it's just a lot of Dame. It's a lot of Dame. When Bobby was cooking early, it was just a lot of Bobby. Wasn't like a whole bunch of movement. Bobby's just going off. And, and I think that, you look at the second half and Bobby doesn't go off, and say, because Bobby wasn't creating as much. And so that's the kind of stuff I think you'll continue to see happen unless you kind of get that offense incorporated where guys are moving. I mean, I'm just saying, just watch the Milwaukee Bucks. It's a lot of standing around and watching one or two guys go to work.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with that. And then I'll also say there were a lot of missed chip shots today, guys. Like wide open threes. Pat missed a couple. even Brook, I mean, outside the three-point line, he had a couple of easy chip shots at it and just missed. And so, I think that might have been just the flow of the game, just missing shots. But hopefully they end up cleaning that up, because we can't get down the stretch during this season and just miss the easy ones.
JT, to your point, and again, I also want to get to Derek W. says, I think Dame needs to get his legs under him still. A lot of threes are on the line. They just seem to be a bit short. And then Colin Racine also on the YouTube says, where's Jeff? You guys leaving him out of the YouTube channel. Dirty. Well, first off, Post Pipe Bomb, if you don't know, he hates the NBA. He doesn't watch a ton of NBA basketball. And I don't even think he'd appreciate being on this show. But one of these nights, when we're on the INTs and Qs Saturday, we'll talk to Jeff. Maybe we can get him on. Maybe one of these post games we can stay up and watch one of these games with us. That'd be fun. I do want to talk for a second about the clutch time Bucks, because there is a pretty good stat that's been rolling around, JT, where, well, first off, everybody's been talking about the Bucks. I think we mentioned on the last show their defensive rating. I think going into Monday night was like 29th, and then I think after Monday night I think it was 25th. So coming in tonight, I think they had the 25th defensive rating in the NBA. However, John Tyus and Chris King, in clutch moments, and I can't remember the definition of clutch. I believe if somebody wants to give me the definition of clutch, if we can find, that'd be great. I believe it's a 5-point game at any point in time under 5 minutes to play is what is defined as clutch time in the NBA. And clutch moments, the Milwaukee, and I believe, and for record, the Milwaukee Bucks had, coming into tonight, I think the 11th rated offense. So 11th rated offense, 25th rated defense. However, John Tyus, Chris King, in clutch moments, clutch situations, as defined by the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks have the number 2 rated offense and the 8th rated defense in the NBA. So they are top 10 offense and defensive team in the clutch. That played out tonight 100%, because you can't just rely on Dame to score. You had to get stops to win this game, because the Bucks were down. Bucks weren't just up 10 and holding on to the lead. They were down and had to come back. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have the numbers in front of me, I believe there was at least a stretch of about 3 or 4 minutes where the Detroit Pistons did not get a field goal. And I believe maybe in the last 4 or 5 minutes, I think there was 1 3 that was hit maybe by Cade Cunningham. Maybe he hit a 3 late, or where it was like one of the only field goals they had in the last 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, something like that. The defense really stepped up. And again, think about the guys that were on the floor. It was Malik Beasley, Jay Crowder, I believe Cam Payne, Damian Lillard, and Brook Lopez for the most part that closed out that game. And remember, Malik Beasley hadn't closed a ton of games. So a lot of credit to him. But again, these clutch time Bucks, there's something to say about that, especially with no Giannis tonight.
Hang on, who was that you just mentioned?
I said what, Cam Payne, Malik Beasley.
Yeah, go ahead. Say his name again. What's that boy name again?
Malik Beasley. He was out there.
Again? Oh,
he was out there.
Hey, you know what? Look here. I just want to make sure y'all put some respect on my man Malik Beasley's name, right? Because he's been kind of going through it the last couple games, and some big moments for him defensively coming up late. Chris pointed that out a little bit earlier, but was glad to see it. And I did not know that stat that you were talking about, but that's very, very encouraging, I think, to have a top 10 offense and defense in clutch moments. And we've seen multiple games where that's mattered, right? We've seen multiple close games. Again, we talked about Dame time. We've seen that at least 3 times this season already. So, man, that's why I like to hear that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'd say shout out to Coach Adrian Griffin for that. I mean, just being able to pick apart and find the right lineups that'll help you succeed down the stretch is huge. I mean, we talk about MarJon and his defensive ability, but he didn't have it tonight. I mean, he was kind of getting cooked by that Marcus Sasser, coming off the screens and stuff, and he couldn't get through those Duran screens. And ultimately, AG makes the adjustment. He puts in Cam Payne as well as Malik Beasley, and those guys end up performing. Malik Beasley forced to travel on Sasser. So it's all about Coach Adrian Griffin finding the right guys to kind of plug in at the right times, and huge credit to AG.
Say that name again, Chris.
Huge credit to AG. Hell yeah.
Hey, they
on
weren't they
him.
about to fire him?
Hey,
about
they
3
was
games
ready to
ago?
run
they're
him out.
ready-
Yeah,
they're
they
ready
was
to
about-
can him.
folks was
So
like,
they was about to fire him a couple games ago.
but I think that's part of the, like, with him not having experience and him still learning this. I think he's still open to trying some things and giving guys looks. I mean, honestly, I would have never before tonight said, yeah, you have Beasley in there closing out a game, and okay, right? You had Campaign closing out a game, okay, all right.
Well, yeah, you have to find what works, and you can say whatever you want about how the Bucks look. And again, they did not look good tonight. Tonight was not a good-looking game from an offensive or defensive standpoint, outside of the stretch that Giannis had when I thought he started to really cook and get himself together before he gets kicked out of the game. But then you had the last 7-8 minutes of the fourth, they show out and they show up, they show out. They did their thing. Again, you saw the defensive pressure, defensive intensity step up. I think I was talking about it earlier today, where, this may be a case of a team that, again, because they are a veteran-led team, this may be a case of, we play defense when we feel like it. When we need to. And again, remember, a team I remember that used to do that kind of stuff? Them LeBron-led Miami Heat teams, where they would kind of coast throughout a lot of games. And then the fourth quarter would come, and it's all hands on deck. We're going after steals. We're hitting our rotations. Everything's good. And you saw that kind of intensity. And the Bucks, to their credit, they haven't just done that against a team like Detroit. They did it against Philly. They've done it against good teams as well. So I got to give them their credit for late in games. It seems like, and this is something I really wanted to see. It seems like if the Bucks can get you down late, where it's a 5-6 point game either way, you're gonna be in trouble because the Bucks are gonna have potentially probably the best player on the floor, and that's what happened tonight. There were a lot of times throughout the game where they didn't have the best player on the floor, but in the last 7-8 minutes of the basketball game, the Bucks clearly had the best player on the floor. His name is Damian Lillard.
Oh yeah, that's the whole thing, right? That's the whole Batman and Superman. That's what we've been talking about. Yeah, I had nothing to add to that, though.
Yeah, I think it's good that Dame recognizes that, though. I think he recognizes himself as a closer, even though, Chris and Giannis are out tonight at the end of the game. I think Dame knows that he has the keys at the end of the game to kind of finish people off or claw the Bucks back into a game. So I think that's what you saw from Damian Lillard tonight. But not only tonight, you saw it in the Philadelphia game and you saw it in the New York game. And I think it's good that we have that set closer, even when Chris and Giannis are out.
At Bucks Fansky Bum. Bucks Fansky Bum. I don't know. Man, AG let the dogs make it happen. Dame told a rough night. It's time to leave. Lopez moment was special. That was a huge three that Brook Lopez hit late in that game. Was it a 1-point game and he hit it and made it a 4-point game? Was that the three I think he hit? Yep. I think that's what it was. Giannis BS ejection. Fine, put them dudes in. Beasley locked up. Crowder, and Payne is just that dude chilling in the chaos. That's a good comment. A lot of fun there. A lot of fun there with it. And again, and then Martinez Coleman Jr. chimes in, says, "Bro, you're fired up." Things early. He says, "You're fired up," sounding like Stephen A. Smith. A question from
Stephen A. sound like us.
That's there you go.
Stephen A. bit his whole style from everybody in the barbershop. Because anybody who's ever gone in a barbershop, I'm not talking about great clips. I'm not knocking great clips.
I'm not talking about great clips.
I'm talking about anybody who spent time in that barbershop. No, I mean, G's, right? Flipping styles, victory cuts, any of them spots, right? You're hearing the same type of dynamics, the same conversation flow and everything. And I think Stephen A., I really do think that he just ride around. Go hit up a Philly barbershops and all right, I'm gonna go ahead and steal that take. We about to go on there with it. I'm 100%. People do this all the time. I don't know how to do that, but that's just how it goes.
100%. I'm with you there. Kyler Racine has a question. He said, "It's early, but do you have full faith in Adrian Griffin long term?" I'll pass it to you guys. I'll answer first. When you ask, do you have full faith in Adrian Griffin full long term? I think it's early to tell, but my answer is yes, because I have no reason, put it like this, I have no reason not to believe in him. He has shown, for what it's worth, you can be upset at how the offenses look, you can be upset at how the defenses look at times. But what he has shown me is that at all times he is willing to make the adjustments. He is willing to try out different things. He is willing to do them in the middle of games. He is willing to change his whole style of play from the start of a game to the first quarter to Malik Beasley only is going down in minutes. Well, tonight I'm putting him in because I need him to play, and he's playing well. Marjon Beauchamp, what we was just talking about, Marjon Beauchamp should look like maybe he should start. Well, tonight, again, 26 minutes. I didn't realize he had 10 points tonight. 26 minutes, 10 points from Beauchamp. But Malik Beasley plays 24 minutes. Again, and he plays down the stretch. Pat Connaughton numbers come down a little bit. And then, of course, Jay Crowder plays 37 minutes. Of course, there's no Chris Middleton tonight. And because, of course, Giannis missed some time because he went out of the game early in the third quarter. But my point being, Adrian Griffin has shown the willingness and readiness to adjust. I think he's shown the willingness and readiness to listen to his players and change entire schemes as early in the season, the first 5-6 games. I think those are great character traits. I think the guys listen to him. And again, the more and more clutch wins you have under adversity, I think the more you start to see this basketball team believe and trust in Adrian Griffin and believe and trust in themselves, really. They're playing some ugly basketball times, but they're getting the wins. And again, I'd rather you win ugly than lose looking good. And maybe that's what happened to Boston tonight, as they got beat down by Philly. But I'd rather take the wins.
So I'm gonna take a step back and I'm gonna say I agree with what you're saying with Adrian Griffin, but I want to make this point. We had Bud who won a championship, and I don't think most Bucks fans really had any faith actually in Bud, right? Like I think we all talked about, hey, look at how this team has performed, despite the fact that Bud ain't doing what we think he should be doing as a coach, despite the fact that there were questionable substitutions and the lack of adjustments thereof. We're 7 games in with Adrian Griffin, and at this point, to me, it really seems like, again, he's open, he's creative, he's learning his role, he's learning, he's willing to experiment, he's willing to listen, he's willing to make adjustments. I think that kind of flexibility, and combined with the fact that the key decisions he's made in critical moments, man, he has 100% earned his paycheck. And I would imagine if you were giving him a grade on an A to F scale, we'd be giving him a relatively high grade. So I think right now I'm very confident in Adrian Griffin. And look, maybe his inexperience will show when you get to the playoffs. You may have to start, relying on some of those guys, on some of his other coaches on the bench. And I'm sure he may even be doing that some now. But yeah, I'm confident in Adrian Griffin. I'm impressed with what I've seen overall so far from him.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I'm necessarily able to kind of say I'm that confident to where he could be long-term yet or whatnot. Because, look, this is what he's supposed to do. He is supposed to take this team to a 6-3 start or whatever it is, 6-2 or whatever. So he had high expectations, and he's meeting them so far. But it's a long season, man, and we get into the playoffs. We know this team is a team who has to get there to the finals to really show that they can play together and get Dame that first ring. All this. So he has all these expectations, right? And I'm not ready to say that he's the long-term guy just yet because we really haven't seen him on necessarily like a big pressure stage yet. So I would like to see that first before I can come to that type of conclusion.
I thought it was interesting, that we saw one of the things we saw late in that basketball game, or excuse me, early basketball game, was Andre Jackson Jr. get about 3 minutes, 39 seconds. It wasn't a ton, but he got in early. And I thought for a guy to only play 4 minutes, I thought he had a bit of an impact. He did have one steal in that 4 minutes. I thought he played some good hard-nosed defense. And I think he's a guy, somebody I think tweeted me during the game and said Andre Jackson Jr. is what the Nasus Antetokounmpo thinks he is. But
the Nasus didn't have a jersey on tonight underneath the warm-ups. Was he just in the dry fit?
Hey man, well he always got to be. He definitely had a jersey. He as soon as the Bucks get up 30 and they down 30, he snapping that thing off and run to the score saves. He is always prepared in case he needs to play. But I thought that was kind of an accurate statement because I thought there was some good movement. Again, I want to see more of Andre Jackson Jr. Pat Connaughton had 2 points tonight, was 1 of 3, not a huge impact, 19 minutes. I really want to see Andre Jackson Jr. get in a basketball game and show me what he can do. And again, that's just some of the things, we'll see. Hopefully, Adrian Griffin works him into the rotation a little bit just to give him a look, and let's kind of see when guys are cooking. Maybe you could put him on a Marcus Sasser. Maybe you could put him on a guy who and try to slow him down. Maybe that's what he can end up being for you. But you don't know unless he's in that situation, and so you want to see that. And I think some of that, at least from Adrian Griffin, the willingness to do it, because I think what we do know is that under Mike Budenholzer, there's no shot at it. Like, I don't even know if Marjon Beauchamp will be playing under Mike Budenholzer so far now. I just can't call that. I don't know. Didn't want to get to the other one of the last parts about what we're talking about was the play without Giannis when Giannis went out. John, Chris, give me your thoughts on, again, we talked about it a little bit. The Bucks struggled and went down, during that stretch, the initial stretch when Giannis went out. Do you think that was more just the shock of no Giannis and the shock that this is a technical foul and what's going on, deer caught in headlights, or is there something more to it where, they look like a team that couldn't function for a while until, like I said, Dame caught fire during the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I'm gonna chalk it up to some shock, just some astonishment at how this thing all went down. I'll say this, man, when Giannis went out, I'm not sure how many rebounds did we get in that third quarter? Once Giannis was out, I mean, you realize we got killed out on the boards. It was like 53 to 37.
Like, they keep getting killed on the boards, man. Every other night they keep getting killed.
But even when Giannis out, it becomes even more noticeable. I mean, it is terrible. I mean, I think they were shocked, but they eventually, fourth quarter, Dame time, they recovered. But this team, they quickly like they were going to implode. I mean, we weren't getting buckets. Detroit was going absolutely crazy on us. Having said that, though, hey, we battled back and we finished with the W. You got to win these games, and we found a way to do it. But no, I was a little worried, and I think that is a genuine concern is how this team responded initially when Giannis was out, because they didn't look good.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of shock, and I think that Detroit was able to actually see that, and they kind of turned up their energy a little bit. I mean, they were crashing the boards. You had Sasser really facilitating and knocking down shots, and I think they fed off of that kind of shocked attitude from the Bucks, and it ended up hurting us. But the credit to the Bucks, because obviously they didn't waver. Like they like I said earlier in the show, like they could have easily rolled over and let the Pistons get that one after they went down 10. But just credit to Dame playing down the stretch and recognizing that 10-point lead is not that much when you got a guy who can shoot from three like Dame and some other guys in there. So I think a little bit was the shock, and Detroit just playing out of their minds for the momentum that they got.
Gabe Hutton chiming in on the YouTube chat says, facts, Chris. Kyle has a question. I want to run this by you guys before we get to our last topic and look around. Why is it that the Bucks are so afraid or unwilling to play their young Bucks when other teams put them out and let them go? Is it because they have such high expectations? It's regular season. Who cares? Make care respond to that.
That's a really good question. I have no idea why the Bucks won't do it. I tend to agree with Kyle. I think the reality of it is it's early. If you're going to get guys minutes, do it now. But I do think that maybe some of it is probably because you do have a new coach who's still figuring some things out himself. You're still trying to figure out this whole Giannis and Dame connection. You got some unique issues going on with Chris too. Maybe it's just a lot. I'm not really sure, but I agree. Listen, Pat Connaughton played 19 minutes tonight. You ask me, I see no problem with taking 5-6 of those minutes and giving them that Andre Jackson. Like, let's get the young bull in there.
Hey, well, I will say this, JT. What'd you say a couple shows ago? We need our horses to start playing like horses against a team like a Detroit, a team that you should be covering the spread against, a team that you should blow out. And you're at the crib as well. Like, you need to have your horses going. And so I think that's a part of the reason, like, these games are a little too close against teams that you should be blowing out. Make no mistake, this is a game where you should have won by 20-plus points. Maybe you do with Giannis in the game still, but at the end of the day, you didn't. You had to come back, good win, but, hey, I think that's why the young guys aren't getting in, because the old guys and the experienced guys haven't figured it out yet.
Well, maybe a blessing in disguise for the Bucks that Giannis does go out early tonight because they play tomorrow night against the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers have shocked teams. They beat the demigod Victor Wembanyama, who apparently couldn't be beat at all. And they've done that. So again, Pacers are going to come through. And I'm telling you, they got some shooters. They put up 100 some points. They put up 150 points the other night. They can shoot the ball, and if you let them get that same kind of momentum, it's not going to stop. You have to play them a little better. So the Bucks should be well rested. No Chris Middleton, no Giannis, no Giannis in basically the entire second half. So hopefully the Bucks, have their bearings against them, when they had to play the Pacers, and you shouldn't have a schedule loss because you're playing back to back.
And we got to.
You're looking funny at me. What's up?
We call him Victor Wembanyama the demigod.
Oh,
that's what they call him.
Like that's the only thing I've ever heard demigod before in my life.
That's what people kept calling him. That's what they told me because I said I was picking on the Suns because they lost to the Spurs and people were like, well, you can't. That's not the same as the Bucks losing because they lost to a demigod. I said, really?
Hey, I'll say against the Pacers, we're gonna need to get a guy out in transition on Obi Toppin, my Dayton Flyer man. He
get out of here.
Hey, I'm just saying. We not getting East Spade on. We're not getting East Spade on.
Are Knicks fans out here crying because they don't have Obi Toppin? Are they crying because Obi Toppin's gone? Is that a thing?
Hey, Randall's been tour date. Hey, Randall's on a tour right now, so maybe so.
He has.
Hey, he got your boy Dante DiVincenzo.
Your
boy, right?
Big impact.
Right,
big impact.
Listen,
hey, that's the guy with the ring right there too. I was gonna say that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely.
We got rings in Milwaukee too. He ain't sweet.
Hey.
He's
actually part of the reason we won the ring. I think getting hurt, getting hurt,
right?
Getting hurt.
Exactly. That's on a totally different way if he doesn't get hurt. Let's take our look around the league. Of course, the Bucks went 120-118, improved to 5-2 over the Detroit Pistons. The Kings are 2-4. They have some injury issues. Playing the Blazers right now down 64-59. The Nuggets, a lot of basketball in action. I don't even want to go through all this. The Nuggets are 57-47 right now over the Warriors on ESPN. The 76ers got a big win, 106-103 over the Boston Celtics. I don't know. I heard the Boston Celtics were the greatest team in all the NBA. They have 2 losses. The Pacers, they played tonight as well, 134-118. They beat the Jazz. The Hornets down 132-116 to the Wizards. Demigod lost tonight, 126-105 to the Knicks. The Nets pick up a win over the Clippers. The Thunder beat the Cavs. The Timberwolves. Talk about a team who's playing really, really well. You got to give it to Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. They also beat the Boston Celtics. The Miami Heat have climbed back from a 1-4 start to 4-4. They beat the Grizzlies 108-102. The Rockets beat the Lakers 128-94. Remember Dylan Brooks, Dylan the villain over there, said he's going to lock up LeBron. Let me see. Did he do it? LeBron had 18-6, so he kind of locked him up. Shout out to Dylan. A 116-115 victory. Phoenix Suns beat the Bulls. And my own Jason Kidd's Mavs loses to the Raptors 127-116. Anything around the league that surprised you, JT and Chris?
Hey, man, if Dylan Brooks was able to lock down LeBron, good for him. LeBron's only almost the tender age of damn near 40, so, clap Dylan Brooks. But, hey, man, good for him. And your boy, Jason Kidd, losing tonight. Hopefully they'll get that thing turned around. Side note, White Dante is one thing, but White Jerome is a whole new level. My man was the Fed chair. He's sticking it up. I just wanted to make that point there.
I'd say what surprised me is Brooklyn. I mean, they beat the Clippers. That's a good win, especially Cam Thomas going out. He had 14 points in the first half. Hey, talk about a guy who's almost damn near putting up all-star numbers. Cam Thomas, he's scoring the ball well. He is. Went out with the ankle injury.
Put him in the most improved conversation too.
Oh, for sure. And went out with the ankle injury tonight, but he had 14, 16 maybe at half. So I mean, he was on pace for another great game. So Brooklyn getting that win, that's a good win for them.
Coming in on the YouTube line, Al Farouk Aminu for 3. Man, Al Farouk, that's interesting guy to bring up. I remember him from back at Wake Forest. He says same record as the Celtics, and the Sixers' only loss is to Dame time. Absolutely correct. And then, my dad's listening to YouTube. He says, why GA and Lopez? It's interesting. Why GA and Lopez on the refs harder than Adrian Griffin? What happened to coaches taking T's for bad calls? I'd rather see Adrian Griffin ejected. You know what's interesting? I said something similar on Twitter tonight about Adrian Griffin. If I was AG, I would have definitely got a tech when Giannis got his tech. I would have probably got kicked out that game 100%.
Right. You got to lose your decorum. I agree. You lose your decorum at that point, right? No. Because here's the thing. You lose your decorum when the situation warrants it. And that's a situation that warrants it. Adrian Griffin could have showed his absolute behind. He would have been 1,000% justified in doing so. Again, I still think he's a little bit new to this thing, right? But no, somebody should have said, listen, right? You lose your decorum over that. Just plain and simple, right? So, side note, y'all catch that when Stewart early in the game, it was like second quarter, he fouled. Was it Bobby or Crowder?
Yeah.
It was Crowder. But
I saw Bobby come and have his back, everybody getting in that man's face. That's what we want to see, right? Mm-hmm. That's 100% you want to see. We don't take that. Don't put up that mess. But, hey, that tone starts at the top. So, yeah, next time that happens, I agree with your dad. Shout out to Mr. Crosby. Hey, next time that happens, I need Adrian Griffin to lose his mind. I 100% lose his mind. Play your clipboard, get up in people's face, make somebody move you off the court. Or you can just sit down in the middle if you want.
I thought it was hilarious when Giannis got kicked out that he sat down in the crowd.
Yeah,
I thought that was hilarious.
He crossed the legs and everything.
Yeah, he was.
Last story before we before we get out of here. LeBron James not shying away from throwing a shot at Heat culture. By the way, speaking of Heat culture, did you see the new Florida Heat have with all that mess on it?
Awful.
You said,
I refuse to read it.
Awful.
I refuse to read it. I don't know what that is. Is that for the tourney? Is that for the
I think it's. I don't know if they just knew.
Talking about professionalism, period.
I mean, we're the hardest working team in the NBA. Like, shut up. Like, come on, man.
Nothing to show for it
JT,
either.
that you didn't like it. You always love Heat culture.
Listen, I don't love Heat culture. What I do love is organizational leadership, right? And I certainly think that there's a little bit more thought that's gone into this thing with the Heat, and they had a system. Right now, has the system been fruitful since 2013? I mean, to an extent, right? 2013, 2014, to an extent, right? Because you made it, but you haven't finished at that point. But you got to put some respect on it, man. What they've been like.
Huh?
7 out of the last 20 finals or something.
Okay,
right?
Nothing to show for it, JT.
Right,
under the Jimmy Butler era. Second place.
They've been to 7 out of the last 20 finals. They got something to show for it.
Under LeBron James.
That's what I'm saying. Speaking of LeBron,
under Dwayne Wade and Shaq, if you talk about 06.
That one I'll give him.
I'll give him that one.
That one I'll give him.
For sure.
Ahead of their game against the Heat on Monday, King James reflected on his time in South Beach, where he spent 4 seasons leading the Heat to 4 straight NBA Finals appearances. James was dominant, carrying Miami to back-to-back championships. Despite his success in South Beach, LeBron told ESPN's Dave McMenamin that his legacy wouldn't be much different without his time with the Heat. He said, quote, "I think I would still be at this level no matter if I would have came here or not. Let's not get it twisted. The 4 years we're here, I was amazing. I loved everything about it. Loved the franchise. Franchise is top tier, one of the best franchises in the world. But as far as my career was going to be my career as far as individually, because I know how much I put into the game. I know how much I strive to be as great as I can be. As far as what I was able to learn here, second to none, that's for sure." He then responded on Twitter to when the story came out. He said, because the story came out, it says LeBron says he'd still be just as dominant if he never went to Miami. He says, "You're damn right. I would still be. I'm chosen. Ain't nothing changing that. Maybe less. I think he said maybe less rings, but dominant from start to finish." A lot of people had issues with that statement from LeBron, basically kind of saying, I didn't really need the Heat. Last thoughts on the show tonight is LeBron correct or is he wrong in saying that, I didn't need to be in Miami to be who I am? You agree or disagreeing with the king?
Man, listen, if he had spent those years in Cleveland, that man would have had probably a hell of a lot more wear and tear on his body, would have been working extremely hard. Part of the legacy is the rings. So I don't really understand how you could say the same. I mean, yeah, he talks about, I'd have less rings if I stayed in Cleveland, if I didn't go to Miami, but that's part of your legacy, man. Like nobody's impressed with one ring, right? Two ring. What do you get? You got that one in Cleveland. I mean, 2 rings and 4 rings is a completely separate conversation, right? Just like so. No, I don't think he would be. I think he would. He probably would have been a dominant. Obviously, nowhere near as successful. But honestly, I think if he didn't go to Miami, I'm curious that if he'd still be playing now, because I just feel like his body would probably be shot.
Yeah, I disagree with Mr. James. I think he needed those rings to kind of propel himself even in a conversation to make him one of the greatest of all time. I don't think he would have gotten the talent earlier on, especially in his career, to necessarily come to Cleveland, Ohio. So I disagree. I think LeBron definitely needed those years in Miami to just break the seal, get a couple rings, and then, he came back to Cleveland. People wanted to play with him there, and then he got a ring there. Hey, take it to LA, and he's there now. So I do think that was all a part of his journey.
Kylan Racine finishing off says he couldn't win it by himself, so he went to Miami. He doesn't need Miami ? And then he says LeBron should be on the trash list.
No, Kyle, we got a whole lot of competition for that.
There's gonna be a lot of competition.
Connor Stallions
on that list. We're gonna have to mention some honorable mentions left and right for that list.
Last comment I'll read. We'll take that one to the end. It'll be Maddie 15102 Bucks fan Matt 1510 said F the refs. Took an enjoyable game and made it stressful. Still waiting for a stress-free Bucks game this season. I agree. Maybe a stress-free win. I think the Bucks have had a stress-free win yet. Maybe they had one. But anyway, the Bucks win it tonight, 120-118. Lot of rallying late to get that W. Face a lot of adversity, but they do finish it out. They do win it. JT, we back tomorrow? We back to Bucks playing Pacers.
We back tomorrow. I don't know, or should we just troll everybody mourning the loss of Craig Counsell to the Cubs?
So right, exactly. We'll talk about that on Saturday.
I'm back.
Folks forgot how our free market economy works. My God, like what?
Yes, we'll definitely get into that 100%. The Bucks, like I said, back. Go ahead, Chris. You got something?
I'm gonna be on tomorrow too. Let's go. We got the Three Musketeers. Back-to-back days. So I actually just got word that Dayton's starting point guard is out for the season, so kind of depressed during the show. But
I'm sorry to hear that.
Stealing signals, sir?
No.
Sorry to hear that about Dayton.
What?
About the Dayton basketball, the Dayton Flyers there. So they got a rough year. And with my boy Deron still there?
Yeah, we still got Deron Holmes. We're taking it to Northwestern on Friday. Hopefully there's no hazing going on in Chicago.
Is my man Archie Miller back?
No, Archie Miller is a URI head coach, Rhode Island. That's topic for another.
Okay. Who's your coach at Dayton, man?
Anthony Grant. Former OKC.
He's from Alabama.
Yes, former OKC Thunder assistant as well. So.
There we go. Okay, so good. We had a little production meeting, so we'll be back tomorrow night to do Bucks Pacers post game. So we'll see you there. Reminder: this has been a Creep City Media Group production. There's a 120-118 victory. The Milwaukee Bucks defeat the Detroit Pistons. Any final words, fellas?
Good win, I guess.
Hey, stack this one up there with the rest, right? This has been a completely different conversation if the Bucks lost this game, because we would have said they wouldn't have lost this game but for the ref's terrible call.
Well, it made it fun. Made it for a fun post game. Appreciate everybody listening, watching. I say listening. Everyone watching us tonight on YouTube, on Twitter. Appreciate you. Follow us everywhere. You see the socials in the bottom of everybody's box here. Appreciate Chris King on the production and doing everything for us. Follow us, like, subscribe, all that on the YouTube. We appreciate it. We love it. And hey, don't take no wood nickels